Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Space Engineers. Today I'm going to be going over my most recent creation, which is the Shuriken Space Security Station, or the Quad S, or the 4S, or some other shorthand name for it. It is a small grid build with 8 subgrids, as well as an optional additional 4 subgrids if you want to include the lower level starfighter berth slash docks. And there's really not much more of a preamble to say, so I'm going to start flying around and make sure we get a full tour of it. So from the exterior, the original design is actually the bow section of another build that I cut off, and then I simply joined 4 pieces together with some additional supporting structure between them and then filled it in. Its basic armament includes assault cannons, autocannons, and some custom railgun turrets. Nothing too fancy, but it works. And that is mirrored up and down with the exception that the custom turrets are slightly in a different position to account for the starfighter docks. So each of these turrets down here is rotated 45 degrees off axis when compared to the topside turrets. And then you have your array of thrusters along the side. And while its acceleration is nothing to be excited about, it does move. Then down here we have the 4 docks for starfighters, and these could be further customized for different shapes. These are just my basic light starfighter, which is autocannons, rocket launchers, Gatling guns, and they connect up to either a connector or a merge block or both. And then also on the bottom is an emergency airlock. We'll get a better look at that from when we come down from the top side. So coming down the top side, we have the primary airlock, which coming to that, we have nice open airlock space for plenty of people to group up in to go in and out at the same time. And every light in the build is on a button. So here is the stairwell slash ramp. Unfortunately, small block stairs is kind of a dream that will never be realized in vanilla. So I'm in fact using a mod for this, which is the small block decorations pack. Unfortunately, still no stairs. And the decorations are purely cosmetic and do not affect the build at all. It's mostly just lockers and I can't remember what else, beds. Lockers and beds and desks. So here is the layout of the decks. We have deck 4 for airlock. Going down decks 1, 2, and 3. Deck down is deck 3, which is the concourse viewing lounge. And I have misspelled concourse. Deck 2 is the primary habitation and command deck, and then deck 1 is the starfighter berth docks and the lower emergency airlock. So coming down, we have a nice open wide stairway, and of course a subgridded gravity well generator. So we are on deck 3, which is the concourse viewing lounge, and this is just a ring-shaped viewing lounge for crew to relax and hopefully not go crazy while stationed aboard the facility for weeks or months at a time. On the back side from the door is just a couple of tables, and then the whole thing has couches and little sitting areas to look out at space. And then plenty of lockers, because storage is good and having quick access to emergency repairs, oxygen, snacks, always great. Decoration-wise, it's a very simple, quasi-brutalist, I would say. Just lots of angles, dark colors. Moving onwards, heading down the stairs again. And I'm going to pass deck 2 to go down to deck 1. So deck 1 we have the lower emergency airlock and the starfighter berth slash docks. And the lower airlock is really just a little room stand here, close the door, have a little bit of room for multiple people inside, lockers for supplies, and then go outside. double piston array. So if we unlock the landing strut, landing pad, landing gear, that's the right word, and power on the pistons, we can then extend them downwards, which will lower the starfighter down to a safe disengagement level. And if you were in the starfighter, you would just deconnect it from the thing, turn on the power, and oh yes, unlock that, and there you go. So just a little small auxiliary fighter essentially for intercepts. Alright, let's turn this all back on and go reconnect it. And there we go. Then we can draw it back up into place. Re-engage the lock. And that's it. Locked in place. Alright, moving on back up to level 2, or deck 2 I should say, and all 4 docks are exactly the same. So deck 2 contains the command center, the medical bay, the crew mess, the officers mess / lounge, the officers quarters, and the crew quarters. So it is another ring-shaped corridor, much like the lounge up top. And the first door coming out is the officer area, which has an auxiliary airlock between the sections. And there are 2 varieties of rooms. There's a twin and a solo, which is mirrored twin and solo on this side. So it's just a very simple, you've got your working desk, you've got a couch, you've got a bathroom, you've got a suit locker, and then there are 2 bunks and more lockers in the area itself. The solo setup is very similar. It's got its suit locker, couch, desk, lockers around, and then a single bunk with its bathroom there. Although I should say head and not bathroom. So again, 2 of each, so that's a total of 6 command personnel. And then the officer's mess / lounge, which is couches, storage, kitchen area, table, and a head. So pretty simple, very utilitarian, just very basic, just enough for a crew to hopefully not go crazy during their several month rotation. Moving on from the officers area, we're going to head around to side number 3, which is crew cabins. Very similar setup with this auxiliary airlock between the sections. And then there are 3 identical cabins with little desk area, double locker, bathroom area, and then 4 berths for crew members, plus lockers. And this is ventilated, but the conveyor system is not currently hooked up, and mechanics are very limited to basic bunch of thrusters and a tank or 2 to keep the build in place. So again, this is mirrored on this side, and then again on this side. Well, not exactly mirrored, it's actually copied and pasted. So moving on from there, there is an additional crew area over there. So you have a total of 24 berths for crew. If they double up, that would be 48. And if they do triple shifts, that would be, what would that be, 24 times 3? I can't do math at the moment. 72. No, 60? 72? 24 times 3. Well, it's one of the 2. You could have quite a few number of crew on here, plus their officers. So we are now going over to the crew mess, control room, and the medical bay. So the crew mess is just a basic kitchen setup, a bunch of tables, additional lockers, couch, and a head. Nothing fancy, just plenty of ventilation to draw out any smoke and grease, always important. And then across from that we have the med bay, and this is modeled off the med bay from my Kalon gunship. So you can turn off the main lights, which is this one here, and then it's still fairly well lit with ambient lighting, but you can turn on just the reading lamps over the beds. You can turn on the night advanced medical relaying. You've got 2 antennas, an ore detector, some heating things, and sensors, some additional relaying here, and I think it's pretty good, for my skills at least. Let's go back to turn in the lights. You got 2 extra seats, some cryopods, some additional relaying, and then some more storage. So all in all, pretty good, plus some regally computers for monitoring vitals and administering medications automatically. Not that the game supports that, but it's there. Moving down to the end of the corridor is the command center. A very basic command center. It's armored with several layers of heavy armor blocks, though it is small grid, so they don't exactly hold up all that well. You've got 4 seats, 4 side seats for tactical or other purposes, a helm seat, and then a backup helm / commander seat, and then 2 extra seats on the side, and then this is just basic red lighting or just white lighting. So that's it for most of the build. Again, the crew area is duplicated on this side with another 3 cabins, 4 people each, or double shift or triple shifted. And there's some additional little greebling details around. And then the remainder of the build with regards to the interior space, if I can find a section that's empty, is that it is pretty much ungreebled. I just have some reactors sitting here to provide power, the basic conveyor system for the thrusters that are already put in, a tank to get them going, and the rest of it is unfilled. And ideally this would just be filled with storage, backup power, batteries, gyroscopes, and well, there are some gyroscopes, but that would be the general plan, be just to fill this all with storage, cut open a wall here and a wall on the other side to put a ladder in to access the storage areas. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this build, and I will see you again next time.